In our biblical parenting coaching program, we focus on the heart of a child. Now, everybody wants to reach the heart of a child, but how do you do that? And we give lots of practical ways. One of the ways to think about the heart is to think in terms of character, because character is this pattern of thinking and acting in response to a challenge. So the organized person thinks and acts differently than the unorganized person, and the patient person thinks and acts differently than the impatient person. And now we're dealing with tendencies that children develop in their hearts. If you think about tendencies, it'll take you into the heart. If your child has a tendency to argue, it's a heart problem. If a child has a tendency to be defiant, that's a heart problem. So we need to work on character. So what we do is we identify a character quality that we're going to move toward. And that's going to help change our whole parenting into something much more positive. Now we're focusing on training to get somewhere and work on character instead of saying to kids, we're just going to use correction. Those parents who use correction alone find their parenting being negative, and it's just a weight on them. But if you move to training, which is what we do in the coaching program, then you're going to see more emphasis on character development. You're going to see a positive change in your parenting. What we're trying to do is follow a model that we see in God's word from Romans chapter 5, verse 3 and 4, where it says this: not only so, but also glorying in our sufferings, because we know that, and here's 4 words, suffering produces perseverance, perseverance, character, and character, hope. Only one of those words do you have control over. You don't have control over the hope. That's a byproduct. Character is the result. Suffering just comes into our lives. It's the perseverance. Paul is saying you want to persevere, because when you persevere, it's going to build the character and produce the hope. So this is the model we use in the biblical parenting coaching program, that children need hope today, hope to deal with their anger, hope to deal with their defiance. They're not happy people if they're being angry and defiant, or they're always being corrected for their ADHD, lack of focus, or their impulsivity. They need character development. And so we're going to step in and say, okay, how does that character develop? It happens through perseverance. And that's going to be essentially a plan that we're implementing with the child to teach them how to deal with the challenges they're facing. So that plan becomes very important. And that's where we spend a lot of time, helping children develop a plan, helping parents develop a plan, because it's within the plan that the character is developed, and then hope is the byproduct. But that still leaves us with the one word, the word suffering. And I do believe it's a parent's responsibility to produce some suffering in a child's life. Now, let me explain that, because I don't want you to be mean to your kids. But I'm saying we allow our children to struggle, or we're going to say no to our child more often to help them develop a greater sense of handling disappointment. Or we're going to give our children more instructions and teach them a plan for following the instructions so they can develop the character quality of cooperation. And when they do, they feel better about themselves because they're doing what's right, and there's a sense of accomplishment that's built into the conscience, so that children have this hope. Many children need hope today. And we start with the idea of hope, that our kids need hope. We ask the question, where's that going to come from? We realize that it actually comes way back from the suffering, putting children under pressure to send them into the workshop of their heart so that they can develop some of the character that they need. So we don't just do suffering without a plan. That's why the perseverance is important. So we're going to say to a child, yes, I am going to say no to you more often this week, but here's your response. You need to say, I'm disappointed, but I'll be okay, for example. So we give them a plan so they can persevere, and that's going to build this internal character that a child needs in order to experience the hope they need. It's so fun to watch kids who have hope, because hope then becomes this internal motivation to bring further change into a child's life. And then we have the momentum of heart change. So it just grows tremendously. That's, I think, in one of the ways why the coaching program is so successful, that in 8 weeks, we can bring major change into a child's life, because we're producing hope, because we're going back and doing training with suffering that's producing perseverance and building character. So think about character as just one of those ways that will draw you into the heart of your child.